Start it?
Yeah,
Let's
you
go.
feeling good? All right.
Go.
All right, welcome back. This is another episode of Mayhem, Midnight Mayhem.
The double M.
Double M. And today we're going to be talking about non-horror or horror scenes and non-horror medias.
All right, sounds good.
So who's going to go first, Bobby?
You're our host. Go ahead and start us off.
Okay, so for me, for example, let me see.
Or actually, better yet, you want to just kind of explain a little bit better than...
Yeah.
So, like, basically something you saw that was pretty scary for you in something that shouldn't have been scary at all.
So like a horror scene in like a kid's show or a kid's movie that was just completely out of place from the entire movie. It had nothing to do with the plot. It was just scary to be scary, you know? A couple of examples, it's like the tunnel scene from Willy Wonka. Well, for me personally, it was the Large March scene from the Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I watched it as a kid. And that movie, it's literally that, you know? It's Pee-wee Herman. He gets his bike stolen, and he travels the country, an adventure, a big adventure.
With Pee-wee.
To try to, find his bike. And when he's stuck in the desert, he comes across, he's hitchhiking, and he comes across, like, this truck driver. He just tells her, hey, thanks for picking me up. And then right away the truck driver starts explaining, like, oh, on this very night, on a night like this, on this same stretch of road, a person died and they took their body out of the rubble and it was completely dismantled and it looked like,
Yeah, like the
weird,
that claymation, like Beetlejuice looking face.
Yeah. Beetlejuice, yeah. And it's
that's what it reminded me of, at least.
Yeah, and it's like, it's a kid's movie, so it's like it throws you off completely. And if you watch it as a kid, it doesn't like scar you or anything, but it's like, oh my god, like it's pretty creepy.
Like makeup.
Claymation.
Art style, yeah, like that. But I mean, it throws you off.
Just start it off. Are you recording?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I was gonna say, oh, sorry, technical difficulties, and then just start it off, and then just.
I had to take a poo.
Yeah.
Some human difficulties.
Human difficulties. God.
Hashtag
my life.
Why'd you nerf us?
You know what I was thinking before when you were saying that? Like, it just kind of throws you off. Have you ever watched something and you kind of thought, like, it was just something that was super weird and unnerving, and you think to yourself later, like, did I watch that? Like, did I just imagine that, or did that actually happen?
Was that a fever dream?
Yeah, like, because I remember I saw this
Deja vu or something.
This claymation, and it was like 3 a.m, right? It was a claymation of The Simpsons.
Oh
but
my
it was,
god!
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It was a claymation of The Simpsons where it was basically like a parody of You're Next. And I watched it at 3 a.m, and like right before bed, and then I passed out and I woke up and I was like, did I see that? I'm going through like Facebook, I'm going through Instagram, Twitter, I'm going through everything. I'm like, where did I see that? Like, I was like, did I imagine that? Like this, like there's no way. Like it was just super weird to see at 3 a.m. No one else is awake. I'm by myself, and I'm thinking like, that's possible. Like it might not have even been a real thing, and I might have just imagined the whole thing. It was real. I mean, I found it eventually. It was just something where I was like, did that happen? You know? Do you want to do your next example, or do you want to have one of us take a turn?
You could toss it over to me.
All right, go
Go
for
ahead.
it.
We're accidentally dating ourselves with these references. That's what the guy noticed. But one of the ones I think of that's a little more modern would be Steven Universe. The whole series is fantastic, but they have some good moments in there where they reference, like, there's an eerie aspect of it. The music drops down low, and you're just like, oh man, why do I feel unnerved? I'm an adult. What's going on? And I had recently watched this with my nephew, and it's pretty funny to see his reaction to it, because I was like, yeah, you're good, right? He's like, I'm okay.
No.
But one of the ones I remember immediately off the top of my head is Frybo. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, it's when Steven puts a gem, a little shard gem into a Frybo, like a mascot suit, and it comes to life, and it may catch up blood and and whatnot. It's unnecessarily eerie. He starts getting veins in his eyes.
What
I don't
the
know.
hell?
You don't remember that? It's yeah.
He repressed it already.
It's like episode 2. It's pretty early on in the Steven Universe series.
Uh-huh.
That's also one of the episodes that got me to be like, oh, I'm gonna enjoy this series.
It's gonna be a good show.
That and Cat Fingers really got me. where Steven's trying to learn how to transform his body, and he turns his finger into a little cat, and then all of a sudden
I seen
the
that.
cat's,
I remember that. I remember.
and then his
that.
whole body starts morphing into like it's like a body just how do you
Yeah.
explain it? It's like body
It's like
horror,
a
right?
it's like a Cronenberg, but for
Yeah.
Cartoon Network.
It was enjoyable, but I remember being like, I wonder if my nephew can handle this. But,
One way to find out. He's like, he's not sleeping at your house today.
I'm over here rocking in my chair.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, that was cool. I was
like, yeah, cool. Like, hey, listen, buddy, if you want to sleep in my bed, that's fine.
but the
like, you're all freaked out and he's fine.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, the episode I'm gonna reference specifically though is gonna be season 2, episode 16 of Nightmare Hospital. And that's in that episode, Connie's trying to get Steven's mother's swords confiscated. Basically, she learned how to sword fight, and she has this item taken, and she follows her mom to work at a hospital. And there's been weird cases of people going to the hospital that were super abnormal, and we find out later on that they're gems that have been reconstructed and like merged together, like almost like
a Frankenstein almost.
Yeah, literally like
but with more limbs.
Yeah, taking apart their body. The gems are like literally how they form their body. So mashing them together is the equivalency of just cutting off limbs and attaching them to other limbs. And so it does again another good reference of just kind of like body horror. I enjoyed it. Earlier when I was reviewing over this, it took me a little bit to realize, or not a little bit to realize, but I started noticing the theme in the horror that was in what the media we're watching. Like
they're not just gonna throw a random like, hey, here's a scary scene. It's kind of like, hey, this is meant to set the tone for this part of the story.
This episode,
at least for certain things. Like for Pee-wee, that was literally like left field. Like there was no reason for that.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about it after I'd seen it for the first time, and I was like, I guess it's kind of showing the anxiety of what it's like to be a stranger hopping into somebody else's car, and just I don't know, the unknown of it. That's also why it was kind of hilarious though, because it's just super out of nowhere, but it fits what was going on in that moment. But yeah, no, it's just kind of out of nowhere.
Like with like Steven Universe, it's like, hey, look at all this like character development we're doing. With Pee-wee's, it's just like, can we traumatize a group of kids?
And I haven't seen the movie either, so I only had seen that clip previously, so that's why I only have that to reference. To conclude my thought with Steven Universe, I referenced the horror in the episode as character development, because in the episode, the mother's trying to keep the sword away from her daughter, and it's like almost like a steaming pot of emotions boiling up, of she wants to protect her daughter from the unknown, but she doesn't know what's going on in this situation.
She's not the best suited for that situation.
It's weird how they convey the emotions in the scene to what's going on with the characters. And so I just want to conclude.
Yeah, it's like the more in danger they are, the more it's just kind of like, oh, like you don't have control of the situation
exactly
as much as you think you do.
And that's terrifying for parents to not have that or at least a good parent. Some parents.
Yeah.
And you think that most of these scenes, like you mentioned earlier, how like all these scenes they just are scary because it's just like something that the character's going through at that moment.
It's a lot
something
of the time
internal.
it's atmosphere. It's internal, but I would also say that it's the way they said it. Like when I was rewatching the scene before we started it, and I was like, man, the music and the tone and the pitch of everything is just like, oh man, it's unsettling even as a grown man.
Yeah,
so,
like even like it's weird to talk about like shot composition for like animated shows, but like there was the scene where they're crawling underneath a bed and the bed's like moving around. You don't really know what's underneath it yet.
Right.
And
that shot composition was like really well choreographed.
And I recognize the irony from it coming from me of all people that loves like over the top chaotic horror, being like, oh wow, this one scene was super
this is scary.
But it's more like whenever I observe media or whenever I watch something, I'm sure you guys have noticed when we watch Hellraiser and stuff, I always put myself in the perspective of the character or the story being told. And so I'm like, okay, I can envision this being creepy to that person.
Yeah.
Under those circumstances, because I'm trying to view this media as intended or as it was written to be.
You're trying to put yourself in the main character's shoes, basically.
Yeah. So I'm spectating the story being told. But all right, Leo, go on to your next one.
Oh, okay. I guess we'll just skip me, right?
I thought you went.
No, I didn't go.
Skipped.
All right, go.
All right, so I kind of want to bring it back to Frybo a little bit.
Hell yeah.
Have you guys ever seen the show My Life as a Teenage Robot?
Yeah.
No.
Jenny 9.
Jenny XJ9.
XJ9.
So there was she's a robot, right? This is about her life. So she always wants to be like a normal person. And there's an episode where her mom was like, all right, fine. Like I'll make you like synthetic skin. So you just put it on. You'll look like a real person.
So wait, what is this show about exactly?
It's a
You ever
show.
seen it?
No.
Yeah, it was a Nickelodeon show. It was
our
about
viewers.
this scientist. Yeah, he's like, I know what it is.
I know,
Just in
yeah,
case,
I know what it
just
is.
in case our viewers
Yeah,
don't know.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much this scientist girl. She makes a robot. It's pretty much Astro Boy, but for
That's what reminded
For
me of
teenage
for a
girls.
second, but I
so
wasn't
she
sure if I
makes a robot that's basically just built to fight crime, save the world, or whatever. But she's built as a teenager, so she's like, oh, I want to go hang out with my friends. Like, I want to go to the mall and roller skate and stuff like that.
Sounds like some Ex Machina.
Yeah,
It's a little bit.
Ex Machina,
yeah.
but for children.
Oh God.
But
Yeah.
so
Well, kind of like Pinocchio a little bit.
like Pinocchio,
I
I would say a
appreciate the
little bit more.
context. I just didn't understand what was happening.
Yeah,
I
so
heard skin, synthetic skin.
yeah,
I was like,
so she's a robot, and then she's like, I want to look more human, you know, so I can hang out with more people, because a lot of people are kind of like, yeah, you're weird. Besides, like her main friends, so she gets her mom to make her some skin, and I could be remembering this wrong, but basically
Oh, yeah.
the skin becomes like a symbiote,
okay.
and it becomes
A
self-aware.
a synthetic creature like something
Yeah,
alive.
and it becomes self-aware, and it tries to like take over her body and become its own person.
sentient creature. That's what I meant.
Yeah, but it reminded me a lot of like Venom from like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know at all what I'm talking about, Leo? Because I know he hasn't seen it.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that
Because
episode.
when we were writing the list, I was like, oh, that's a kind of a weird one, but I was like, it's kind of like, I don't think any of you guys. I'm surprised you knew what it was, but
I remember it like back in my head, like vaguely remember it. It's like I remember the skin coming alive, and I'm like, oh, that gives out Venom vibes and
Yeah.
stuff, you know. And it's like it just starts like trying to like take over her.
yeah, but it was like it was exactly like Venom, where it was just like grabbing onto her, like pulling her back.
Yeah.
And it's weird when you think like, oh, this is a show about a robot girl who fights crime.
Yeah. Is it fun? Yeah. I know you're right. I'm dying to see this episode now that you're explaining it. I'm like,
Because I was like,
You
oh,
hyped
should I
it
tell you guys while we're writing the list? And I was like, no, I'm gonna just keep it a secret,
in my
and I'm
mind,
gonna
I'm
see
like,
if anyone knows what it
What
is.
are you on about, dog?
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
But what's your second one?
My second, we'll go ahead and go back here, as I'm gonna go through the list and see if I can think of something else.
I mean, my second one would have to be that one scene from the baby scene from Train Spotting.
Yeah, you just showed it to me for the first time just moments ago.
Isn't
And
it
yeah, that was the
gnarly?
first time I saw it as well.
It's shocking. Like it's not so much it's disturbing, but it's also like just shocking. Like I don't
How
know.
old were you when you saw that? Because it came out in '96, right?
Yeah, no.
So I obviously was way too young to watch it.
no,
so
I was older when I watched it. I was probably like
It's definitely unsettling even as a
18
teenager. I
or
can
something.
imagine.
Yeah.
One of the things that I thought was kind of weird about it and unsettling, while he's like freaking out,
Mhm.
he was on like 2 or 3 different mattresses. Did you notice that?
No, I don't.
So
remember.
there's really no way to know which reality was like.
Where he was
The actual
actually,
reality.
Oh yeah, because it's like that whole scene. He's going through withdrawals and like he's locked up in this room, so he can just kind of like ride the withdrawal. You know.
They're cutting him cold turkey, right? That's how
Cold
you explain
turkey.
it. So
Yeah.
that'll give it some context to our audience. In case you don't know.
Yeah. So like he's a heroin addict, and like his parents like they locked him up in a room to just kind of like just ride out the wave cold turkey. You know.
Cold
And-
turkey, for those who don't know, is a sandwich meat that you put in a refrigerator.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Eating best when cold. But anyways, and he starts hallucinating, and there's a scene earlier in the movie where like there's a baby that dies because of what did I say,
He's
neglect.
yeah, he neglects a baby and he just kind of starves to death.
Right.
So
right.
he's directly responsible for that baby's death. So he feels guilty for it. So now he's having these hallucinations because of the withdrawal, and he sees the baby.
It's like it's his guilt manifested in this moment, and
Yeah.
I mean, this what would you categorize the movie under? Like, is it a just
It's like
slice
a
of life, but just a really?
No, it's
Slice
it's,
of
no,
life.
it's a
Just
I mean,
drama.
if you're a drug addict, it is.
I mean, it has its moments. It's like it's a comedy, you know. It's a drama comedy, you know. But it's like that one scene.
Oh, it's a drama comedy, you would argue.
I feel like, yeah.
Or is it more of a coming of age story, but they just happen to be drug addicts?
A little bit, yeah. I guess it's a little bit of all. Because I mean, it has 3 sequels.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Was that the first one?
That was the first one.
Does the
yeah.
baby come back?
No, it doesn't come back.
Okay.
But it's like it's just the whole point that it's like you see the baby crawling, and it's like you know it's the baby, and it's like okay, like he's imagining the baby, but then the shocking part is when the baby, like, his head turns 180 or 360, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So baby's crawling on the roof. It's slowly crawling toward him
yeah.
on the roof, and then it gets directly above him, and the baby just does a full, like, what was the girl from The Exorcist?
And,
Reagan?
Reagan?
Yeah, she does a full Reagan. The baby turns his head around, and then it, like,
but the baby's
lurches
face,
at him?
yeah, well, the baby's face, like, it's all like,
More like falls on him.
it's
That's
all
what- that's-
swollen and like it's unidentifiable. It's
yeah,
like
the thing.
it-
So I was
it's
gonna
very
say,
uncanny. It's very in the
that-
uncanny field.
was that meant to look like that, or do you think that was an effects thing? Like they were just like, oh, like let's just look something that looks like a
No,
It
baby.
no.
felt intentional. It felt like it was meant to look like a corpse.
Yeah,
And
and
that's also why it seemed so unsettling, because it seemed like it was practical up unto a degree.
Yeah.
Like, where obviously the
like it looked like a doll. You
it
know,
looked like a doll, but also looked like it was.
It looked
like
like a
a
doll.
candy,
It
like you
looked
said, like a-
CG. It
Yeah.
looked like it was a plastic baby,
But if you look at
but
specifically
all at
at
the same time.
yeah, if you specifically look at the face in that moment, it's like, yeah, it's unsettling.
It kind of
He's-
looked like
yeah.
the cart titan a little bit,
a little bit.
like
for-
barely, but
But it's like he just starts yelling at it. You know, he starts freaking out, and then the baby just lunges at him, and it's just terrifying. You know, like
Did it lunge or just fall on him? 'Cause
It-
I think for me, but
well, I mean,
maybe a
was
little
like,
bit of both.
a little bit of both.
in my
'cause it's
mind, it was like the corpse of it just falling on him, and that's what's like
I
freaking him
guess
out.
it felt. I mean, as the viewer, it felt like it lunges at you. You know, but
Yeah. No, teach their own. Spectating how you see it. So
I mean, those are my two.
All right,
Bobby, you got another
I
one?
have a kind of a joke, but I don't know if it's messed up since we're talking about babies here.
Cancel.
probably.
I'm just saying. I was just saying, like, I don't know why he was so scared. I mean, he's already killed the baby once. He could do it again.
Oh God, no. All right. So my next one's gonna be because you guys obviously know I'm a weeb. If you watch previous episodes, I enjoy my anime. But this next one is Cartoon Network, which is pretty close. Another Cartoon Network would be Steven Universe. Adventure Time.
Adventure Time, yeah.
Has a lot of good moments with the Lich. A lot of random,
Oh,
just
the
like
Lich,
yeah, that's unnecessary. Like, all right. I remember my one of my siblings. I won't name which one it was like, I was scared of snails after that. I was like, really?
Oh yeah.
And he's also like, I was also afraid of not having a belly button after the Simpsons or special.
First one off cliff.
Yeah. But the episode I'm specifically referring to when it comes to Steven Universe today is going to be Dad's Dungeon. I actually love that episode because it's
with the sirens.
yeah, we're talking about the sirens, but specifically I like that episode because it's like a coming of age, and also it's like a narrative on how negative reinforcement isn't the only form of enforcement,
Yeah.
especially to our kids' development. And this scene fully embodies that. Where I'll give you the context. Finn has to go through a dungeon that his dad set up for him to beat. Jake's not allowed to help him, which is like his older brother. And the entire time, in the recording before they go into the dungeon, Jake is told by the recording of his deceased father that he's not to help Finn, and he's supposed to discourage him as he goes through the entire dungeon. And so Jake's trying not to be mean, but also he's doing what his dad requested, and he's putting Finn down the whole time, and it makes him feel
Like
so,
reluctantly, yeah.
Yeah. So
He's not like, I'm enjoying this. It's like, I don't want to make you feel bad, but like I was told to.
I'm trying to honor my dad's wishes, but also what's like, why? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's just trying to be a good son. And so then in the scene, there's these sirens that try to convince Finn to eat an apple. And it's obviously a trap. It's obvious to everyone in the room. But when Jake's putting him down, he's just like, why am I even trying? Like, he feels so low about himself that he just allows himself to almost fall into this trap. And Jake takes, the sirens trying to make him eat an apple. Jake kicks it out of his hands and forces one of the sirens to eat the apple. And in the process, this siren turns into
They just
vines.
turn, like,
And then,
demons.
they turn into demons. They consume, they like cannibalize each other. Yeah, it was super like, what the heck is going on? And as the episode continues, it's nowhere near as like dark as that one moment was.
Yeah.
So that's one of those ones that stuck out in my memory as a.
You know what? Just thinking back while you were explaining that, it does make me think of the same. It's another example, but Pan's Labyrinth scene.
I haven't seen Pan's Labyrinth.
You haven't seen
Oh, my
Pan's Labyrinth?
goodness.
Yeah.
So it's you know what I mean? It's the
Yeah.
same. It's the same concept. They go into a room. It's a long dinner table, and there's fairies trying
There are
to
fairies, yeah.
convince them to do one thing, as opposed to the other.
Yeah.
Except the fairies were the good guys in Pan's Labyrinth. They were like, hey, don't
Yeah,
eat anything.
They were
Oh,
just
okay.
warning them. Yeah, they
Yeah.
were warning them.
But yeah, that was a good scene. from
I'll
Adventure
have
Time.
to
A
watch
lot,
the
a lot
movie.
of the season of Adventure Time are good, but that for specifically what topic we're talking about
Yeah.
was a good example.
Raymond, your turn. What's your
All
next
right,
one?
let me check my notes here. Let's see. Did you guys watch the entirety of like Justice League, like Justice League Unlimited?
Unlimited?
Yeah, like either one. I'm pretty sure it's Unlimited specifically that I'm talking about.
Probably, maybe not the
I
whole
would say I
thing.
have watched it once all the way through, but I couldn't say I remember every episode. But there's a
Right.
lot of great episodes.
There's a lot of good
Although
episodes.
there's so many that just stuck out in my memory over the years.
So there was one episode I believe it was in Unlimited, and I mean if I remember the episode name or anything like that, we'll put it on the screen.
If we get good at this, we'll actually link some of these stuff below, or at least have it on the screen for you to see.
Yeah,
A
but
little bit of it.
there's an episode where this guy steals a belt which allows him to time travel,
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
and
okay.
he uses it to basically rewrite history. He becomes like the supreme ruler of the world and all that. So the Justice League goes and they follow him to stop him. He's messing with time. You're not supposed to do that. So they go to the future and they see the future Justice League. So you have like Batman
Oh.
Beyond. You have Hawkman.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah.
one.
Static Shock.
Static Shock. He's
boy.
old man Static.
Yeah.
It's all this, right? So the scene I'm referring to specifically is toward the end where they ambush him and they're trying to get the belt from him, and he is messing with the timeline. He has all the Jokers from Batman Beyond on his side, but they're all like upgraded cybernetically.
Mhm.
And just slowly but surely they just start killing all of the Justice League, like the
Huh.
future Justice League. It's like the one scene that stuck out to me was with Terry McGinnis, so Batman Beyond,
Yeah.
where the girl Dee Dee can multiply herself, and they all grab a limb from him, and they all just pull.
What?
Yeah, you don't remember that?
Yeah, I do remember.
So-
He's bringing it back. That's why
So he,
I suppressed it,
God.
man.
they all grab him. Two of them have him by the arm, two of them have him by the leg,
Uh-huh.
and you just start seeing him pull, and then it just transitions to Bruce Wayne as an old man, just hearing him die, and just like accepting his death.
like off
God.
screen, right? Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
I
and
remember
then-
that.
And then I think Hawkman, there's like a tear in space time, and he just falls through, and dies. And I don't remember what happens to Static. I'm pretty sure he dies as well.
I thought I remember Static just kind of staying behind for like a final like go out, but I might be remembering wrong. A different episode.
It might be
It's
a
been
different episode.
Because I remember when I might be confusing Static Shock's episode where he goes into the future and meets Old Man Static. That's what I'm thinking of in my head. But I specifically remember them grabbing.
Yeah,
each of his
that was the
limbs.
one where I was like, oh, that was
That was brutal.
really dark for a kid. Like, I mean, obviously, it's like you can
Yeah.
enjoy
Everybody's
it no
on
matter
Netflix,
which age
yeah.
you are. But if you're gonna see that on like Cartoon Network, for example,
I felt like that would go over a lot of kids' heads in that moment, unless they're like, because you know you're when you're a kid, you don't remember
Yeah.
things. You just kind of.
They go to the past as well, right?
yeah, they do
Okay.
a few leaps.
Got you. Okay.
But yeah, I'll show you the scene after this because it was pretty brutal.
Static Shock looks pretty good, man.
He looks good for his age, right?
Yeah.
He looks pretty
He's got
good
he's
for
got
his
dreadlocks,
age.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got goggles on. like-
He kind of reminds me of Ezekiel from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And then, so Leo, do you have another one?
I mean, as far as like, I mean, there's a couple I just can't think. I mean, Mulholland Drive too. I don't know if you guys have never seen Mulholland Drive.
No, I have not.
There's a scene in Mulholland Drive where like there's a character explaining a dream that he had. You know, he was it was one character. He was talking to another character in a diner, and he was explaining a dream that he had. He's like, yeah, you know, like I was dreaming. The day was kind of like foggy and it felt like a dream, you know.
Yeah.
And you know,
That weird haze you have in a dream.
Exactly. And he's all like, as he explained the dream, he's like, yeah, we were walking out the diner, and I turned this corner, and there was like this creature that appeared, like this hellish looking monster creature, you know. And like as the dude is listening, he's like, okay, whatever, you know. And in the scene, like they walk out of the diner, the same exact diner he had in the dream, you know. They walk around in the corner, and like as they're getting closer to the corner, like he's feeling like a little anxious,
Yeah.
kind of like this. I feel like
Like deja vu.
yeah, deja vu kind of thing, you know. And for some reason, it hits you out of the blue, but like this weird looking creature that comes out of the corner, just like in this dream, and he just faints, you know. And it catches you so off guard, you know, because the whole time, like the moment is building up, the music is really somber, and the camera is it's gonna turn the corner with you, and like the whole time you're like, there's nothing gonna be there because he
Like he just described a dream that he had.
Described a dream, yeah. But like sometimes you don't think, you're like, wait, what's this the dream? You know?
Like, are we watching a retelling of his dream, or is
Exactly,
this real life and he just talked about the dream that he just had?
Something I just realized after like hearing all of us talk about each of these individual things is that they're not just random jump scares. They're literally build-ups.
They're build-ups.
Because I think of like a lot of modern horror. Yeah. And I'm just like, man, I hate when they're jump scare heavy, and then they just get like it boggles down everything. Like, it was completely unnecessary. We're talking about each of these, and I'm like, dang, it's just like this slow rise. Like, it is out of nowhere under the context of what the series is, but it served a purpose for what was going on. So it's kind of funny that those stuck out in our memories over all these years.
Well, I think it kind of attributes to like how to do horror right, or at least in our minds. Like, jump scares are effective, but they're cheap. You could just be like, "Oh, that was scary, wasn't it?" Like, look at your heart rate, or you could be like, "Hey, like, listen to this really unsettling story about like a creature coming out of a corner." You know, and like, oh, like that's a weird thing, like, because you're not expecting it, because it's just a normal movie.
Congratulations, I peed a little.
Yeah, I peed a little. But yeah,
you want me to swap my popcorn?
But yeah,
do you want me to go, or you want to go for this last one for me?
I have one. I mean, the out of a kid's show.
and I have one from a kids movie. So if you want to go,
Kids movie, okay.
if you want to go, I'll go, and then we'll finish up with Leo's.
Mine will be pretty quick because I'm just gonna shout out to a few anime ones. One series that I have not watched completely, but the scenes from it have stuck in my memory because when back in the day when you used to watch shows on TV, you'd only catch occasional glimpses of shows.
Yeah.
And so those are the ones that have still stuck with me, and it was from Paranormal Agents. Specifically a scene where this gentleman is like being interrogated, or he has a baseball bat and he's like swinging it wildly. It's about like the intensity of the interrogation. I don't want to talk about it too much because I want to rewatch the series and then talk about it and then have you guys see this scene, but I'll just leave it at that. The next one's gonna be FullMetal Alchemist. Obviously, there's, for any of the weebs out there, FullMetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Obviously, Brotherhood tends to be the more superior one because it's based on the manga and to completion. But FullMetal Alchemist, I'd seen as a teenager. Actually, I was like 3rd grade when I first saw it, and some of those scenes really got me. Like, I know a lot of people hate that series because it doesn't stay true to the original source material, but I enjoyed it for what it was. And one episode that specifically gets me was it's not a sudden thing, but it's just an episode about it's how do I explain this? It's episode 35 of the original series. It's called The Reunion of the Fallen, and it's about Lust, who like convinces this doctor in town to it's almost as if she falls in love with him, and the doctor is absolutely obsessed with the character Lust, this homunculus character.
I've seen her, yeah.
No, yeah, I'm sure for the audience.
Yeah.
So he becomes obsessed with her, and she's just like, like whatever about it.
Yeah.
But it also seems like she's into him at the same time, and he ends up leaving his fiance, or I think his pregnant wife. I don't remember the specific context, but he leaves her, and then the whole village dies, and they show everyone in the village die, and they basically turn into wood over time. I don't know. The tragedy of that just absolutely traumatized me as a kid. Like, I remember being at my DS house watching. I
remember that.
Yeah, I was watching at my DS house like 2 a.m. and I watched it, and my heart sank and into my chest, and I was like, goodness, that was amazing. I gotta watch more anime.
Yeah.
And then I went to like a 1st grade field trip. I think it was, like I said, it was either 1st or 3rd grade, and I wasn't allowed to watch horror movies as a kid, so this was the closest thing I got to horror. And I remember just wanting to talk to people about it, like I saw this scene that just it hits so hard, and I don't know how to explain it. And you're kids, you don't know how to bottle up. You like talk about your emotions.
Yeah, you're just like, I want to just talk about everything right now.
Yeah, but then at the time, and liking anime wasn't cool, so like I had nobody to talk to about it. And it was before I had friends that actually liked anime, so I don't know. I just wanted to give that one a shout out. I'll try to link this one below, or at least the episodes, because I do recommend watching the full. Like, I think it's like a 2-episode part. But that conclusion is just like so gut wrenching, so like.
And it
horrifying.
Reminds me of like I was saying when I saw that weird claymation of The Simpsons, where it's like you see it at 2 a.m, like
it's like a fever dream.
Were you sure you saw it, or were you imagining all that?
That claymation with The Simpsons, it's just so disturbing. Like,
it's
weird.
I'm gonna
watch it after
unnecessarily disturbing.
And
like I said, I didn't see it on like YouTube or anything. Like, it just randomly popped up on like Twitter or something, and then I just couldn't find it for like the next 12 hours.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. I remember watching it, but I don't remember where I watched it for the first time. I think No, it could have been Instagram. Maybe Facebook, but I don't know.
Maybe Facebook. Maybe I did see it on Facebook. I don't even remember.
I don't remember.
That's
I
the
don't know
thing,
where I saw
and I
it.
haven't seen it since. No, but I did. I just look up like Simpsons
Yeah,
claymation horror.
Yeah,
like you'll
no,
find it.
You'll find it.
So let me go ahead and go with one more before we wrap it up with Leo's. And this one not necessarily stuck with me, but I think it's just a good one for the topic. Have you guys seen The Brave Little Toaster?
Yeah.
Yes.
So 2 scenes in that. There's the scene with the air conditioner, I think it was, where he just like, no, I'm tired, I'm old, I've had enough, and he just kills himself.
He
just explodes.
He like coughs, doesn't he? He's like like that, right?
I think so, and then he just
Yeah.
explodes, and then you just see every inanimate object there is pretty much like a living creature,
Yeah.
and then he explodes, and it shows the air conditioner, but it's just inanimate. It's just there. It's not doing anything. It's just part of the background now.
Yeah, there was a lot of good moments in Brave Little Toaster. I was just like, as a kid, I was like, it was unsettling.
Yeah, but the other one is the junkyard scene
With the giant magnet.
with the giant magnet in the cars, basically singing like, "Oh hey, like we're gonna be murdered,
Yeah,
and there's nothing we can do about it."
yeah. I guess the closest thing to like modern version of that would have been the Toy Story.
I was about to say.
Toy
I
Story
was
the
three,
incinerator.
Yeah, the incinerator.
but
scene.
except it was more like, I don't know, that 2D brutalness of the Brave Little Toaster.
Yeah,
was
but
like,
I also don't think like Pixar would have been like, yeah, let's show all the toys catching on fire, getting crushed.
That's what I say. I think it's
Yeah.
more, I think it's as far as like how horrific it is. I think the Brave Little Toaster did it better.
Yeah.
But
Also, just a quick little shout out. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this video, but it was this guy was showing his parents Toy Story 3, and they've never seen it before. So what he did was he made an edit to the movie.
no.
So basically, where they're all headed toward the incinerator, when they're
What
all
is
headed
that?
toward the incinerator,
Is it hard cut or no?
it's a hard
Yeah,
cut
it's a
to
hard
credits.
cut, yeah, to credits.
And he goes, "Yeah, that's how it ends." Like, that's not how it ends. Like, yeah, that's the movie. That's how it ends. And it just plays the credits. And it just have like a "You Got a Friend in Me" playing over the credits.
Friend in me.
I don't know what song they played, but
No, I can imagine that though.
yeah. So that'd have been an interesting way to end the movie. It would have avoided the 4th one for sure.
I didn't mind it. Let's talk about my bad opinions.
Yeah.
Go, all right, Leo, close us out.
I mean, one that I don't know why it scared me as a kid, but the Ghost Train episode from Hey Arnold. Do you guys?
I recall it, but I don't remember it.
I don't remember too much about it, but I remember when I thought of this idea back in January 1st, 2023.
Right.
Yeah. I put 2 examples down because I wasn't sure what exactly we were going to be talking about. So I was like, oh, like we could be talking about like video games. We could be talking about movies or whatever. That was one of the examples I put down was the train. And I don't remember too much about it other than it was like super dark.
It wasn't dark. It was just I don't know. For some reason, as a kid, I would always get scared when cartoons would just like have those episodes with like legends, and then like it turns out being like fake. But then at the very end of the episode, like it turns out being real. Because at the end, it's like, oh, the ghost train, but it turns out it was just like like a normal train that
Just like a
runs
last
late
stop,
at night.
yeah.
Yeah. And then at the end, you see that guy like, oh, what was that? Well, that one kid was on there too. That one weird kid that breathes heavy. Remember?
Yeah, the one who always gets punched.
Yeah. Like
Helga does the Batman punch to him.
yeah. And then like another one that I remember was there was this one with the wild thornberries. It was like the ghost Native American kid that apparently like there was a legend that it's like he follows you. Like you gotta watch out. He protects this part of the forest and stuff like that. And it turns out like it's like like they thought they were hearing the kid, but the wind was blowing, and they just thought it was on their heads. And at the end of the episode, you see the ghost of the kid like looking at them with wide eyes, and it's like, oh my god, like yeah. So it's like, oh my god.
The stories were true.
See,
Why didn't the animals warn her?
I didn't have cable as a kid, so like I remember people talking about this episode and then watching like bits and pieces of it, but that's why I say it's very foggy in my memory. Like I remember seeing it, but I don't remember like anything of the actual images in my mind.
Yeah.
But you kind of described it. I just imagined what it would have been like. Is that's everybody's for today?
That seems like it's everybody for today.
All right. Well, before we close out completely, I want to invite anyone who's anyone in our audience that's listening to leave a comment below, or I don't know, figure out some way to have you guys reach out to us and give us some of the ones that you remember, and maybe we'll go check them out.
Yeah, give us ideas for our show. We're running out.
Running out.
Please. But no, I would like to see what else had traumatized, especially if you're like for like younger people, because we don't watch like modern cartoons, or like modern stuff outside of like modern horror.
Yeah, like when we find something horror related, it's because we're watching something horror related.
Yeah, that's why most of mine were animated, or all of mine were animated, or
Yeah.
or anime. But I'm curious to see like kind of our seniors or like the youth of our audience throw out some suggestions and seeing like what's going on here.
And we'll
What's
go over the
considered creepy?
suggestion and then read over the suggestions too.
Yeah,
And we'll let you know if you have a good opinion or a bad
Or
opinion.
trash opinion.
we'll try to be gentle. All right. Well, thank you for listening. Subscribe, like if you liked it. If not, you can tell me my breath stinks in the comments. I would appreciate that as well. Any interaction would be good. All right. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Love you.
Bye.